Hi, I'm Ashley Forsyth, and today I have with me Mallory May. Hi, Mallory.
Hi.
And Mallory is the owner of the Chic Gourmay and also Luxe Brows, Utah. So we're going to mostly talk about the Chic Gourmay today, but just so you guys know, Luxe Brows, Utah, it's basically her microblading business. And so you can actually follow Mallory, and if you're thinking about getting your eyebrows done or getting any microblading work done for the holidays, that is exactly what she does. And she works out at the beauty bar. Where is the beauty bar?
The beauty bar is in Chic.
Awesome. All right, yeah, so check out Mallory May and the Luxe Brows at the beauty bar. So going into the Chic Gourmay, basically, this is a food and lifestyle brand that you just started. And it's all about, you have a blog right now with events, recipes, and everything food in Utah specifically. You do a lot of food styling photography, which is mouth-watering. If you follow her at her tag, there's so many amazing pictures of food. And you're starting a YouTube channel with food story that are going to be called Food Stories that are going to specifically talk about food and heritage and culture, right?
Yes, correct.
So just tell us a little bit more in your own words about what you do.
So I think I've really been a curator of food and delicious things since I was very young. When I was about 9 or 10, I started watching Martha Stewart every weekday at 10 a.m. during the summers when I was home. And that was my first memory of really finding out this love I had for food, especially food that's unique, that's not your average spaghetti, peanut butter jelly sandwiches, you know, the things that we all grew up on, which are just fine. But that's when I started to learn that there's much more to food than just eating and just calorie content. So in the last year, I decided that I wanted to dive into social media and sharing my message that food should be enjoyed, it should be shared. And I'm doing that starting locally, and my goal is to expand that nationally.
That's awesome. See, I completely agree with you. I think there's like two major great things about living, and it's relationships and it's food. And a little bit about Mallory is actually, we know each other from high school. And the funny thing is, I truly think that you're a fighter, right? Like you do boxing or is it boxing? And you're a pageant girl. So I really think that people who like all the girls that are like fitness people and have been dieting and everything, I believe that we're all truly obsessed with food. So I love that. We respect it, and it makes you love it even more. It's definitely not I don't eat, therefore I don't.
Yeah,
I don't enjoy it. So you love food, and you said it's not obviously just calorie content. Which is great. I get really obsessed with the nutrition side of it, obviously, because of health and fitness meals and my nutrition companies. But yeah, that's how I know Mallory. I know Mallory way back from high school. Can you tell me a little bit more about, you kind of talked about your passion for food. Tell us a little bit more about what got you involved in this line of work and what put you on track to do this?
That's a big thing. So I started following bloggers. One of the first bloggers I ever started following was actually Emily I. Jackson. And her content is 100% different than mine. It's very lifestyle, fashion, family-oriented. Although I am a mother, my tagline is dress well, eat better. I do some fashion things in my blog. I mostly focus on food, but I didn't realize that social media could make you a living, that sharing the content you create is valuable and worth something. And I saw that I wasn't being creative enough in my current field of work, and I wanted to really capitalize on that. Not necessarily monetarily capitalize, but to capitalize on my creativity and what I have to offer. And so after watching Emily I. Jackson for a while, I call her Emily I. Jackson because that's her handle on Instagram. I just thought to myself, why don't I start some sort of lifestyle brand that fits me? I feel like that's something people might want to share in.
That's awesome. So I just gonna put up in here for everybody so they can say you have to do a blog. What's the name of your blog?
It's the same as my handle. It's the Chic Gourmay, M-A-Y, because that's my name, Mallory May. thechicgourmay.com.
All right, I'm just put that up for everybody to see. All right, and let's see what we're going with next. So this is not, I mean, you have a day job. So
Yeah.
A lot of women that I talk with in business are in different stages of this. A lot of them sometimes are still working full time and starting their new company on their own. Some of them are almost thinking about quitting their full-time job and taking it on, 100% at the time. But talk to me a little bit about the stages your company is in currently.
So I technically launched the blog in April of this year, 2018. So I am a baby infant blogger. This is the very beginning stage for me. So right now I'm very much in the investment stage. I've invested in photography equipment. I've invested in classes, cooking classes, and blogging classes, SEO courses. I've invested so much time. I knew it would be a lot of work, but I had no idea that I might spend 30 hours a week trying to figure out how to make one post just right. Had no idea it would be that hard. So, but I really enjoy it. It's work that I love. And so I'm in the very beginning stage. And one of the things I just launched is my food styling section of the business, where I'm offering for a limited time a discount on photography and food styling for anybody who's interested, anybody who owns a food business or a restaurant, or even a product that they've come out with that they need some professional pictures of.
Yeah, and once again, do follow her at the Chic Gourmay, because you'll be able to see all of her beautiful photography and pictures, so that you can kind of see what she's offering in her packages. And the packages are also on the website, the Chic Gourmay, right?
thechicgourmay.com/book, BOOK.
All right. I'm going to put that up then too.
Thank you.
/book. All right, so that's where you can go. And do you have any of your pictures up on the website too, or is it best just to follow you on Instagram to see the pictures?
So I do. I have all my photos on my blog, so they're dispersed throughout everywhere. On my home page of the website, there is a rotating gallery of all of my own images. Every image is specified otherwise on the website.
Awesome. Okay, so we talked about you starting the blog just barely. You said April?
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us what blog platform you use?
I use
WordPress?
Yes.
Okay, great. And what do you like about WordPress, and why did you pick it? Because there are lots of options.
There are a lot of options. So I chose WordPress because when I was reading which hosting platform to use, WordPress came up the most, and it seemed the most user-friendly. What I like about WordPress that I think some people don't is I like the customization that's not generic. So for example, I know a lot of people love Squarespace because how simple it is, and it pretty much comes built for you. But with WordPress, I'm learning HTML coding myself, so I can really customize. But WordPress also allows different plugins, which for those of you who don't know, a plugin is basically just a fancy little thing that you put on your website that that does a job for you on the website without you having to code for it. So WordPress allows you to use as many plugins to do the job automatically as you want, but it also allows you to do your own coding as much as you want. So that's what I like.
I have known businesses that aren't bloggers to use WordPress as well. And one thing that I noticed on your site is that you were able to insert your photo packages right there on the website. And can you actually check out with those right there on your website?
So I have not made it so you can check out. I could if I wanted to, But I've purposefully only made it to where you can select a date, you can book, you can send me the email saying which package you want, because I want to make sure that I have a personal conversation with whoever's booking to make sure that I'm giving them exactly what they need. Because photography is very, very unique, right? So if a restaurant, say a restaurant I've shot for, a company, Salt and Vinegar SLC, what they wanted was for me to take pictures inside their warehouse while they were making their product. That's pretty much a different shoot than somebody who wants me to just come to their cafe and take 5 pictures of coffee, right? So I want to make sure I have that conversation so I can give them exactly what they need. And if I can't provide it, then I don't want to take their money. I can send them elsewhere.
And that's it's a lot of very honest of you, rather than just taking a project just to make money and take a project. You want to make sure that people get taken care of the way that they should and are put in the hands of somebody who's going to be able to do that for them. So that's awesome. Going back to the packages that you have on your website and how you have the dollar amount, Mallory, you've chosen to not do the checkout once again, but you can. So that's a really cool thing about WordPress, is that I've known people who aren't even bloggers to use it as their website platform because it's easy. It's very user-friendly, and you can integrate checkout packages right there on the website. Yes. I don't believe all blog sites have that. Is that?
I don't know. WordPress.
Yeah. Well, but yeah, so anyways, WordPress for blogging and for business, for stores online.
I do want to shout out to another element of WordPress that I use. It's called Elementor. So it's like Element, O-R, Elementor.
Element, O-R. Okay.
So Elementor is, it's a plugin that you can use on WordPress that will build entire pages for you. And that is how I built the custom pricing packages. I used Elementor. So I didn't use WordPress by itself. I used Elementor as a plugin as part of WordPress.
Oh, thank you. That's really helpful. And I know very little about WordPress because I use GoDaddy website builder is what I've used. All right. So as far as you deciding you wanted to work with food, it's a really saturated market. I mean, a lot of people have food blogs. A lot of people try to make their own food shows. And it's, obviously food's never going to get old. Nobody's going to get sick of it. Tell us a little bit about how you're different and like your business model is different.
So my business model is different because I have a lot of different things going on. Not only do I create and share recipes, I review restaurants. I've consulted with a couple different companies on the best way to present food, the best way to describe food, event organizing. I'm kind of a jack of all trades when it comes to food. And I'm still working on narrowing that down. But I think the base, when we get to the base of what my business is, I'm just trying to share a message that everybody can enjoy good food. It doesn't have to be difficult. It doesn't have to be expensive. And those who join what I call my foodie fam, it's a hashtag. I don't think I made it up, but I haven't really seen it in use outside of my little following. Those who want to join the foodie fam are part of a very special, all-inclusive, everyone's welcome. If you have a great recipe for boxed ramen, I want to hear about it. If you make foie gras from home and you harvest your own chicken livers to do so, that's cool. I want to hear about it. And so what the Chic Gourmay does is we take food and we elevate it, but we aren't discriminatory towards anything else. It's not just, 5-star Michelin restaurants. And it's also not fast food. We want to enjoy everything that there is to enjoy when it comes to food. And we want to look at all parts of that, whether it's local restaurants, whether it's local recipes. I'm just growing a community of people that love to eat and feel welcome.
That's awesome. I love to eat. I want to be a foodie fam What part of the foodie fam? You told me a little bit before we went live about your first YouTube show. Tell us like when it's launching and tell us what it's about, because it was really cool.
So the first YouTube show will launch in December. The date is to be determined. Again, I'm a one-woman show, so this whole editing thing is really kicking me in the rear right now, but nothing stops me. So what we are doing is launching a channel called Food Stories. And this channel is going to feature different people, somewhat like Boss Lady Sunday features different people, but we're featuring people and their recipes that come from their family and their heritage. So Food Stories is all about people sharing recipes handed down to them from their grandparents, special things that their family treasures. So for example, I have a friend whose grandparents are eating, and his grandparents taught his mother and him to make Swedish bread. Swedish bread is traditionally made on the longest day of the year. I believe it's December 22nd, something like that. And because it takes so long to make, and it's a Christmas bread. And so the first show is going to be all about Swedish bread, how to make it. I'll post a recipe, and then you'll get to watch the process and learn with us about that Swedish tradition.
That's awesome. Do you have any other lined up foodie stories? Or are you going to give us the inside scoop? Any other ones that are
I have some Southern American and I have some Mexican recipes coming up, but I can't give you too much information. But if you like collard greens and fried chicken, you might want to tune in.
Nice. So I actually have some connections from some of the other Boss Wave stuff that I've done. And there's a girl who is local that owns her own like tamale company. Ooh. That came to my Boss Ladies night. And so that might be a connection for you. I'll like definitely let you know about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Your information. If she's interested in being on camera, then that's great. And anybody who's interested in being featured, I'm absolutely excited to talk to you. And you don't have to share your recipe if you don't want to. That's not a requirement.
So you said that you're doing everything on your own right now. That's super standard. And I think that everybody like listening, if you are starting your company, that's what you're going to expect, especially starting out. You talked a lot about your investment in your company and how much time you're putting in right now, how much education you're putting in, even like your own money and resources. And you are the only resource, you're the only person working your company. So you're editing all your own videos. Can I ask you what you're using to edit your videos?
So for my videos, I'm just using iMovie right now. Mm-hmm. For my photography, I use Affinity. I'm actually looking to change because I don't love it, but it is very user-friendly.
iMovie and?
Affinity, AFFINITY.
INITY. And that's for your photo editing? Mm-hmm. And what don't you like about Affinity?
It's just a little limited, but I knew that going into it. There are a lot of reviews on different photo editing software, and one of the specific drawbacks to Affinity is limited in what you can do. But the big pro to use Affinity is how user-friendly it is. So that's what I started with because I don't have that much time as of right now, so I needed something simple.
And I use iMovie as well, and I actually love iMovie. I think it's also really user-friendly. I taught myself. I just got in there and played around with it and figured it all out. I was telling you about my interview with Dusty Jones, and she was the one who recommended iMovie to me. So I definitely recommend it to anybody listening.
Well, if Dusty uses it, we should all use it.
Yes. I think she now, like I said, when you start, you do everything yourself. And I think that's where she started. But now they're at a place where they're pushing out so many videos that they subcontract an editor. So that's something to look forward to. You might not have to edit your videos for very long.
For videos, it's so fun. But for some of the other things, I would have such a hard time letting go of it. I don't understand how people do sometimes.
It is really hard. It's hard to like take out your control and start like giving jobs and counting on other people to do things for you, especially when you're like, this is my particular niche and I like want it exactly this way. But Yeah, I mean, I think you keep on to the things that you are like the most passionate about. I don't think you'll ever have anybody else take your photos, but like definitely not. But yeah, like look forward to being able to subcontract jobs here in the future. All right, so if you had one piece of advice from your experience that you would like to leave women with today who are maybe thinking of starting their own business, what would it be?
I think my piece of advice is also something that I struggle with the most. My piece of advice is to always remember that what you have to say is valid and valuable. Whatever your message is, whatever your expertise is, whatever you want to share with the world, just because there may be a lot of other YouTube channels or blogs or magazines, whatever, that also share the topic, you are unique. If you don't find it out or figure out exactly how to do it right the first time or second time or 10th time, that's okay. What you have to bring to the table is special and different, and if you stick to it, then it's going to grow.
Thank you. I love that. All right. So finally, as far as like the advice column portion, we want to talk about everybody's at a different place in starting their business. So for you, you said you're a baby blogger, you're just barely started, you're at the point where, and I think a lot of people don't understand this, is that things aren't necessarily immediately profitable. And you were telling me that you are not profiting yet. So tell us about, your time and how much you're investing right now financially and hour-wise into the company, and where you see is your long-term vision, where you see profits coming from, and at what point you see yourself being able to leave your day job completely and be able to manage the Chic Gourmay full-time.
So I see my business going in 3 separate directions. The first being food styling and photography, the second being YouTube, and the third being product. What I haven't mentioned, because it's so far in the baby stages, is I'm working on a product line right now that I won't really say much about, because seriously, it's step A right now. But those are the 3 ways that I'm going to monetize. But first, what I'm doing is just building a following, showing people that I know what I'm talking about, and the things going on around them locally are important and fun, and they can come join in. So those are the 3 directions I see myself going in long term. I suppose what I've invested in so far, a lot of money goes into it, and things that you don't realize are going to cost money. So one of my biggest pet peeves is on Pinterest. You might see hundreds of posts, make $1,000 blogging in less than 5 days using a website that costs $295 a month. Okay, well, what they're not telling you is that you need to have a camera, or you're going to pay a photographer $300 an hour minimum, and you're going to need 25 plugins on that website that cost $49 a year a piece. They're not telling you about the clothes you're going to have to buy, the hairstyling, the makeup, all these things. They're not going to tell you about the graphic design, the logo work, or paying for software to even do it yourself. You have to pay to do it yourself. Mm-hmm. There's no such thing as a free ride. And so all of these things are what I've invested in, software, even silly things like the right kind of clothes to wear on camera. You can't just wear whatever you have in your closet on camera. There's certain things that look right. And also time. I probably spend 30 to 40 hours a week outside of my job and school just on this website. Actually just yesterday I was crying. I couldn't figure out this stupid thing on my website. I've been working on one tiny little colored box on my website for 4 hours on it because I couldn't figure it out, and I was like, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm just going to walk away for a minute. And then I ended up figuring it out. It was okay. But that's what you invest. You invest so much, and you can't expect return on investment immediately.
You need WordPress friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
Network with other women who are doing this. Do you know Jackie Stoddard was one of my other Boss Babe features, and she owns Foil and Ink, and she does a lot of website.
I didn't know she owned that. I know Jackie Stoddard.
Yes, and she owns Foil and Ink, and it's amazing, and she does a lot of website design and everything. So I just love this generally. I think you should check out all of my Boss Babes because it's a really good network. There's almost somebody that's over something that you can contact, and all of the women I've talked to are all super awesome and all super excited to help out other women succeed as well. So
right. If anybody ever needs help with styling anything, and again, I focus on food, but something I've done in the past is product styling, photo shoot styling. When
you were a pageant girl, so obviously you did like styling, makeup, fashion.
Yeah, so I do a lot of, in fact, just for my friend, I designed his wedding decor and set her up at the wedding. Because my favorite thing is things that are visually pleasing, visually beautiful. It draws the eye in. The way things are placed it means more than we realize.
Well, I think that your advice was so great. It was so on point and true to it, because if you are looking to start your own business, you should be encouraged by, people like Mallory who are doing it, but you should be realistic and understand how much of an initial investment it is, that there is not an immediate payoff. So props to you for putting in all of that work. That's amazing. And I honestly think we're on to our last question, which is where you get to ask me any question you'd like.
Okay. So I've actually followed your journey from the very first, I want to say you did figure competition first, right? Was it figure?
I did a figure competition like over 10 years ago was my first figure competition. And at that point, I was doing an internship as a personal trainer, and I was an exercise science major. And a lot's happened since then. But yeah, I've been in the fitness industry for over 10 years now.
So I remember following you then because also you were advertising for a roommate in your townhouse.
Oh, and that was only like a year ago.
No. It was a long time ago. It was forever ago, like literally almost 10 years ago, maybe more.
I was probably advertising for a roommate in my apartment then, because I definitely didn't own a townhome at that point in my life.
It was something, but the only reason I didn't is because it was too far away from where I needed to be. Mm-hmm. But I've been following you from that time. I remember watching your video of when you made your first 900-pound leg press. I don't know if you remember that video.
I think so.
Yeah. So I guess my question to you is you started out from there and now you are running health and fitness meals. How long did it take you to be profitable?
Okay, so I guess health and fitness meals, it was very different than I think the way a lot of companies start, because I didn't necessarily see it as being a full company. I was working full time as a personal trainer, and I was probably in my last year of college. And at this point I had switched over because I didn't want to do exercise science. My bachelor's I wanted to be a registered dietitian. So I was now focused more on nutrition. So I switched over my majors, and I was also working in the pro shop. So I was in the same location. I was working in the pro shop. I was giving people nutrition plans. I had worked with a registered dietitian and gotten my nutrition program certified. And I was selling them out of the pro shop, giving people supplement recommendations, educating them on food and supplements. And I was taking on clients and training them one-on-one in the gym. I was competing, doing some competitions around that same time, and I was very avid about my own personal food prep. And like I said, I was writing people plans, and I had clients that would be like, well, this is great, but how do I follow this? What do you do? And I just remember at that time, I maybe had a 6-pack bag, and I was like, oh, let me show you. And I had all my meals out, and I was like, see, this is it. And I have a scale at home, and I just weigh it out to match, my macros. And they were like, I don't think I have the time for that. Could you do it with yours? I'll pay you. They're like, if you cook twice as much food, could you cook mine too? And I was like, yeah, of course, because that's not going to take any more time for me, but I could like make some extra money. Like for sure, let me just think about. I literally started just cooking people's food with mine out of my home, kind of like a personal chef. And I was like, here's your receipt. I would have like a shopping cart for them and a shopping cart for me. And I was like, this is how much your food costs. Here you go. And then yeah, I would just cook it at the same time. And then I just started getting more people, and suddenly I'd have like 3 carts. And I was like, oh wait, this is taking more time because I need more oven space, and I've got multiple trays of food, and everything just happened organically. So initially I was definitely making money, like right off the bat, but there's a lot of growth expense, and there's only so many people that you can personally chef for out of your home. And so you get to a point where you can't handle it anymore. And then I started like getting other people too. And then I like needed like some chefs, and then I like couldn't ignore it anymore. I needed to lease the kitchen. So at every point of major growth, there was a lot more of an investment in it. And then there was a lot of a setback where I didn't make as much money right away. But everything kind of grew to catch up with that gradually. Yeah. And yeah, my model was, I guess, like I never would grow until I needed to. And I never went outside of my means. So I never spent money that I didn't have coming in from the business on the business.
Well, smart.
Thanks. But yeah, it was a little bit different. Like I said, I never made a business. I never wrote out a business model, honestly, or business plan.
This happens. I don't have a business plan either.
But I did for my second business, my Your Way Nutrition, because that one is very like, after I'd actually been in business, I was like, oh, there's a better business model. I can think of this and I know what I want. And so, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, right now I'm doing things I love. And when there's a time to write a business plan and be a little bit more quantitative with it, then I'll definitely make it.
Well, I'm excited to hear about whatever your products are going to be.
Yeah, they're super fun. I'm so excited. I'm having to do the whole wait till the business makes money to spend money. So it'll be a while, but I'm hoping next summer.
That's awesome. That's exciting. All right. Well, thanks, Mallory, for coming on. I do have another interview to get on right after this, but it was so great talking to you. I loved hearing more about the Chic Gourmay, and then have a way bigger idea of where you're going with it now than just like seeing mouth-watering food pictures in my feed all the time.
Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Mallory. Have a good day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.